Thank you for watching Farm Kenya and welcome back. Now, in each and every society, food security continues to be one of the most intricate parts of community as we speak today due to climate change. But even as we continue to find solutions to food security, what are some of the available means that we have that we are able to reach that deficit with regard to food? And today on set, I have two gentlemen, that is Lawrence Misita from the extreme end from Eco Dudu Ranch and Cliff Olal from Eco Dudu Ranch, as we have discussions on why they have invested their time and money on crickets. Yes, you heard that right, crickets. Now, I'll just start with you. Crickets is one of the ways, I mean, even back in the days, this used to be food, but has not been very common, especially in the Kenyan market. So why crickets? Why is it what you wake up to do every day?
Well, actually, you know, back in the days, I think historically, it has been a tradition in Africa, let me say in general, people have been eating insects per se, but this whole tradition has been eroded with time. So I'm trying to bring it back so that people can, you know, this was the past. So I'm trying to remind people that actually our ancestors they relied on feeding on insects per se. Traditionally, in some cases here in Kenya, you can find some tribes like the Luo community, also from people from Turkana, people from the Luya community. This is actually not something new to them. It's actually something they've been doing in the past. So this was an inspiration that I got back in campus. I studied biology from the University of Nairobi. So during those lectures, I got to know the benefits and of one, rearing them, and also two, actually consuming them.
And I come to you, Lawrence. Now, Lawrence, one thing you forgot to say is the University of Nairobi. But Lawrence, now let's come to crickets. Yeah, you wake up every day, it is all about crickets. And someone would ask you, why would I care about crickets? Because if I find it in my house, the next thing I'm thinking of is killing it. So why is it an important aspect, especially when you talk about the food chain?
Okay. When we speak about crickets, we're talking about the nutritious value it has in comparison to other insects that we wake up around seeing every day. So I basically choose cricket based on its proteinous content that it has. Okay. So in comparison to other insects, or in comparison to other aspects of nutritious value, I choose cricket based on its actual protein content. Okay. So actually, can you reframe the question again? I'm missing some parts.
Yeah, so like in terms of crickets, why is it important in the entire value chain? You've rightfully alluded to its nutrition value in terms of proteins that you get. So just take us through that and why you think this is important.
Okay, personally, I think cricket it's important because of the percentage of nutrition that it brings in comparison to other food aspects. We have like vegetables, we can have other, we have many resources in relation to food that can bring us this nutrition. But I basically choose cricket in relation to the food chain based on its proteinous content. Actually, that's the reason why I choose it. Yeah.
And if I talk to you now, Cliff, here now as we talk about the crunch bites. Now, so this is flour, right?
Yeah,
so where do I use this? Can I use this, because in Kenya, flour is either chapati or ugali. So can I use this for my ugali or for my chapati?
Yes, actually, it has a broad range of uses. It's quite flexible. And for starters, you can incorporate the powder, the cricket powder, in your smoothies, in your shakes. For people who are in the fitness department, the bodybuilders, they can incorporate it in their daily routines when they're making their smoothies and shakes. That is number one. Number two, it comes to the weaning babies. You know, for weaning babies, they need to grow healthy and strong. And my product actually, it tackles that because you can use it to fortify your normal porridge in the household. So for babies, this is a number one product for them because number one is protein content and also it's some macronutrients. So we're talking in terms of the magnesium, the iron, the riboflavin acid, the ethanoic acid, the list is endless. Number three, when it comes to its use, now for grown-ups, now you can use it to fortify your normal ugali flour.
Okay.
Yeah, the maize flour. That is number two. Number four, you can use it to fortify your normal pastries that you do in the house. When you want to make your pancakes early in the morning, when you want to bake your mandazis, when you want to make your chapatis, when you want to make your donuts, when you want to make your cakes, when you want to make your bread. So you see, the list is endless, depending on how you want to use it.
So you say early in the morning I make my pancakes laced with crunch bites. That is from crickets. And you've also alluded to the fact that it's good for bodybuilders. I know we have a bodybuilder here called Masharia. So I think this would be really good for him. He's one of our technical guys here. Yeah. And I come to you now, Lawrence. Now, when you talk about these crickets in front of us, the biggest challenge would be to convince a Kenyan out there, to convince your would-be clients that this is actually good for them. So how has that been in terms of cracking the market?
Okay, it has been quite challenging. In the way when you talk about acceptance, it's a big and it's one of the major challenges that we face in the market because of different traditional beliefs, or maybe because of different approach towards this cricket itself. You'll realize that in some traditions, whenever you come across a cricket, you see it can be some form of charm, or maybe some people see it as a form of bad luck. They need to kill it. But you see, convincing them to consume this could be quite a very big task because you will have to crack their traditional belief first in order to convince them fully to use this and extract its nutritious value. So the major challenge is just that acceptance.
And in terms of this, clearly is a product that you've invested time and money into it. I see you've reared them, you harvest them, then you value add on them. So in terms of the government coming forward and holding your hands and making sure that this is a product on the shelves, how is engagement with the government?
The first stop, the first point where we actually interact with the government is on the terms of KEB certification. That's our first major point where we interact with the government. And luckily, I can say the government has done major strides. There's a major milestone that the government has done to enable us to put it on the shelves. So that means that our products are certified by the KEBs. Though currently I am not certified, I am on the process. I'm developing my product. Yeah. So, but there are ways, there are mitigations on how to go about it for us to be certified. So there are thumbs up for the government. It is certified. It has been approved by the government. It is a source of protein, and you can use it to fortify your daily meals.
So Lawrence, take me through your day-to-day activities. Where do you get these crickets? Do you have people that you call to bring you crickets? Where do you get crickets from?
Okay, first of all, I'm on the digital sector. I do research. I go online, I do research, I post them, I take reviews from clients. You will realize that some communities whereby crickets are found in abundance, for instance, So through research, I get to interact with these people on the ground. I extract information from them, and I even contact them personally. You'll realize that through communication, a lot is achieved. Through communication, you can get the market very easily. Through communication, you can get the source very easily. So for clarification, my main source is the research. The research. Just say research,
So from your research, where do you get crickets in the country? Where are crickets abundant?
Cliff, can you look at that?
Maybe I can come in there. We source our crickets Actually, what we do, we buy eggs.
Eggs.
Yeah. So we buy eggs from our main supplier is JQuat. So we are in liaise with JQuat, the suppliers with the eggs, and then we have a rearing facility. From the rearing facility, that's where we develop our products, and then after that, they go through the processing hub, where now we add value. So basically, you just buy eggs, and then it's like it's a micro livestock, you know. It's like any other livestock that you can take. You can go to the market, buy a baby calf, you know, and start raise it from its early beginnings. But for crickets, you buy the eggs, you put them through the incubator. It takes normally 7 to 14 days, depending on the humidity and the temperature. After hatching, they take around 84 days for them to mature, and then we do the harvesting. Us, of course, we leave some for continuation, so that they can continue rearing more eggs. But we do so in a span of 5 generations. After 5 generations, I harvest everything. I go back for another new batch of cricket eggs.
And on the same, do you have, say, families of crickets or a specific variant of cricket that works best for your business?
Yes, of course.
So how do you determine?
Research is out there. It's published. And our source of information, you can get them from ICIPE. So in Kenya, currently, there are around 2 species of crickets that are certified, and one of them is called Grylus bimaculatus, that is the field cricket, and then we have the Aceta domesticus, which is the house cricket. Now ICIPE also, they came up with their own species. It's called Scapsidices ICIPE. So that's another new species that is certified. And then now there's one species, though it is my trademark, I cannot put it out there. Now that's my added advantage. I can say now that species is best for making the flour.
The flour.
Yeah, as you can see, what we have here on the table, this is Grylus bimaculatus. This is the field cricket.
Field cricket.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you go on the internet every day, doing your research, engaging with your clients, what's their feedback on the crickets for the ones who you say are your clients and return clients?
I can say they highly recommend it. For the bodybuilders, like we say, our main target is for the bodybuilders, maybe the winning babies or breastfeeding mothers. Their review is highly appreciated, and their reviews highly recommend us. You'll realize that in the field, the clients whom have managed to consume these products, their review is always highly rated. They can give us the 5 stars. The least we can get is actually 3 stars. But for the ones, actually, different people have different tastes and different reviews. But the least review I've ever seen is just the salt basis. You realize some people may say it's too salty, some others may say it's less salty. So it depends with how their taste is. But their review is highly recommended. So they highly recommend it.
I think now that you're talking about the taste and all that, I mean, it's only right that you taste, right? So I think everybody has their spoon.
Yes.
Since you are the owners of this thing, I think I'll just have a spoon. So I'll go last. I'll go last. So let's just start from the other end.
We're the ones who are setting the pace.
Oh yes, because you've been on this thing long enough. So let's just try it out and see how it goes. Why are you picking one? Just go with the entire spoon.
Yum, fantastic.
Yeah, it's yummy and fantastic. That could be because you're used to it. So
yeah, they're crunchy. Okay, give us the feedback. Let me not.
You know, in Islam you say Bismillah. So Bismillah.
Act like the customer now.
Well, it's crunchy. It's dry. I would love a little bit of salt in it, but it's crunchy. Yeah. It tastes more like how do you call it?
Termites.
Termites, yeah.
In Kiswahili kumbe kumbe.
In Luo we call them ngowen.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like kumbe kumbe, which is really good.
Yeah. So actually, this is only salted. we have like 3 other brands, not actually brands, but semi-brands. We have the one that is lemon. We have different flavors per se. So there's one lemonade, there's one for barbecue, there's one for cinnamon, caramel. Yeah.
So how do you prepare it? Say, fine, you've harvested them, but how do you get it to this level? Does it have, does it fly? When do you take the wings? How do you process it pretty much?
As I had earlier mentioned, it takes around 84 days for it to mature. Then once they are ready, we get to know when they're ready by the size also. But the number one factor is the stridulation of crickets. That's what makes the sound. You normally hear at night. It's called the stridulation, and the stridulation is the rubbing of the 2 hind legs. That what makes the sound. So once they start making that sound, then it's actually the males who actually make that sound, not the females. So that sound is a sign of maturity. So they tend to call the females and tell them, "Hey, I am ready.
Let's get business." Yeah, and so that's how you get to know that it's ready.
It's ready. Yeah. So when they start stridulating, I get to know these guys are mature. I set up boxes or sachets where they now can lay their eggs. For my continuation. And then I give them around 10 days for them to do their thing. Then after that, I'll harvest them. The process is it's not that cumbersome. But as I said, I must do it quite early in the morning because they're quite active when it comes around approaches 7 a.m. onwards. So they're quite active, so you cannot really get a hold of them. So we tend to time them when they're quite dormant at night, around 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's when we do our harvesting. Past that, you can't do any harvesting. They'll be all over.
Cliff, you want to tell me that crickets are active during the day, not at night?
Yes, they are nocturnal, but they tend to cool down as time at night.
When they're tired.
Yeah, they're quite tired. So during the day, because of the temperatures and what have you, they tend to be more active. So they'll be quite jumpy. They do not fly, for number one, but they are good jumpers. They jump quite high. So at that particular time, it will be cumbersome. So between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., we do our harvesting. After harvesting, we do what we normally say, we kill them humanely. Yeah, so we don't massacre them. So what we do, we either suffocate them or put them in the freezers. So as you know, as the temperatures cool down, they also die. Extreme cold temperatures, they die. After that, they go through. If I want to make the flour, it goes through a different whole process. No, we just dry them, using the dehydrators. So we dehydrate water from them, and then we put them into the disc mill, where now they mill it into flour. For the whole roasted crickets, it's a whole nother procedure. After they have died, we put them in an oven, and then after the oven, we set up which amount of time, which degrees, and then this is the final product that you have.
Final product. Yeah. So it's low-key cremation. So I come to you, Lawrence, now. With all these processes, in terms of sales, marketing, and making sure that that people know about it, I know it is the challenge that does exist out there. But how do we crack the market? How do we ensure that a set of, for once, I didn't know that these exist, but it is a new product that is out there. How do I then get to know that you exist, that it is good for me, that it is certified, and it is good for my baby? Because this is a lot of information that your would-be clients need and perhaps they don't have.
Okay. We have online platforms that we have created in relation to our products. At Ekodudu Ranch, we've created an online platform called Ekodudu Ranch, under LinkedIn, under Twitter. That is X. We have Ekodudu Ranch on YouTube, on all the social media platforms. And we also organize from time to time live podcasts whereby we get to educate our clients on how they can consume our products, on how they can reach us, and on how they can get these products. Yeah, so when you talk about cracking the market, I can say we have created public awareness in abundance for the product, whereby we can get to know how the customers feel and how they can reach us. Yeah, so public awareness is what we have created much for the market. Correct, yeah.
Now, Cliff.
Yep.
With this product that we have right here, there is always the need for buy Kenya, build Kenya, but there's always also the next step, which is export. Is that an area that you're looking into? And if so, what are some of the requirements internationally?
Well, yes, export. It's a venture where I cannot really say that I should not look into. It's something that is really in my mind. And yes, there are some processes that I have to go through for them. There are also international standards for them to be exported. What I can say for now is that this is something that globally is getting attention. Yeah, globally it is getting attention. You'll find so many articles from FAO, from the World Food Program. So information is already out there. What we need is for that information to go in depth into people's homesteads and diverse areas. Our product, let me not say our product, but the consumption of crickets is not something new in the Asian communities. It's a big thing in the Asian community. So maybe there I can find, maybe because there are already companies that have already established themselves. So now the area that now people are eyeing to is the European market. This is something that the Europeans are eager to know about, and they want to try something new. They want to live healthy. So yeah, that market is something that I am looking into. But before I reach there, I first must supply our neighbors, who are the Ugandans and the Tanzanians. Ugandans are very heavy consumers of insects per se. So if I crack the market here in Kenya, my number one target will be now, you can see, my immediate neighbors. From there, now, who knows. Yeah.
Now, Lawrence, in front of you, I see we have, those are mandazis or mahamris.
Yeah.
So let's have mahamris and mandazis as well. I'm sorry, people, we have these after the fact. So let's just go into it here.
There are also some chapatis.
The chapatis as well. Guys from the UK, some Albanis call them chapai. Chapai. Yeah, they actually smell really nice.
Yeah.
They really smell really nice.
So actually, I decided to make, these are homemade. I have not yet, if things go well, by God's grace, maybe I can reach the levels where, I see in supermarkets, normally people, they bake their own mandazis and then they put them in shelves, So if I reach to those levels, I'll add value until to the final product. So this is made out of the cricket flour from this. So
that is from this?
From the flour. So the flour was used to bake the mandazis. Yeah.
That's really nice. Actually, you can't tell that this is from cricket. I mean, it is, plus looks as if it's brownish flour and whatnot. So we're
actually cutting carbs. There's scientifically, it has been proven that wheat, it's carcinogenic, eating
the gluten.
The gluten content. So by fortifying your normal wheat flour, you're cutting the amount of carbohydrates you're actually consuming. So you're also depriving the cancerous cells from their source of food, because they like glucose.
So as you enjoy your mandazi, I want to come to you, Lawrence. Now, as we have these products here, he's mentioned something to do with the carcinogenic factors on our normal flour that we have, and this comes to cure that. So in terms of of your clients saying that these actually meet their needs and demands. How is that interaction whenever you talk to them?
Yeah, okay. Let me just summarize it in this way. When we talk about carcinogenic, we're talking about supplementing other feeds. So you realize when they go to the market, the content in which they can get from this is quite cheaper compared to that which they can get from normal foods outside the market. So our clients basically recommend this because it's cheaper and easier to find in comparison to other foods. So you realize the content, the carbohydrate content, the protein content, they get very, very, very easily from these products at a cheaper price.
Yeah, and now he's mentioned something to do with price, which is very critical, especially in this business. And why would someone pick these over what exists?
Well, first and foremost, while we're trying to market our product, we do not sell crickets. That notion, we try to minimize it as much as possible. Because the moment we mention the word cricket, to people they're like, is it really edible? So to cut that notion, we try to keep it behind the head. So we try to market the nutritional content part of it. So this is a food supplement. As I'd said, from our early adapters, who are the gym goers, or the bodybuilders, or the fitness enthusiasts, what we try to market to them is the content in it. Because what they go, the alternatives, for say they're actually expensive. They go for the products like the whey products, the BCAAs. Those products, they're highly expensive. I don't want to mention what amount of ranges they are, because they're quite different, but they're highly expensive. So what my product does, we're entering into the market, yes, a highly nutritious product, number one, which is naturally occurring as compared to our competitors, which they are chemically laced. Number two, we enter into the market at a lower price. For this sachet, this is a 250 gram sachet. Currently, it will go for about 1,000 to 2,500 by the time we enter to the market. So the prices will differ between there. But currently, I'm selling them at 1,500 for 250 grams. So, and with this packet, since you're not going to use the whole of it, it's a food fortifier. So what we normally tell our clientele, hey, don't look at it in the aspect that it is expensive. 250 grams for 1,000 shillings, it doesn't make sense. Yes, it does make sense. You know why? You're not going to use the whole of it. You're just going to use a portion of it to fortify your normal feed. So the message out there is that we normally tell people to mix it in the ratios of 2 to 1. So if your normal flour, maybe you're using 2 cups. So for this, you're going to use only 1 cup.
1 cup.
Yeah. So this is our fortifier. You're not going to use it completely. So we try and leverage people on that basis. Yeah.
And Lawrence, now, this is a product, as he's rightfully said, that is coming to sort out different issues, especially when it comes to matters to do with health. So he's mentioned cutting down on the glutens, the chemicals that do exist, which therefore brings now the next question of engagement with, say, the Ministry of Health and whatnot with regard to making sure that this is actually even included in foods that babies out there, the things that we buy off the shelf. So in terms of just engaging and communicating with the relevant agencies, where are we in making sure that this actually gets the stamp of approval from the relevant ministries?
Like my friend Cliff has said, we're in the process of marketing this. So for starters, we can say that we are in the process of engaging the health sector. You realize that we've never had complaint. We've never had any person coming out and complaining about our product being or having side effects in the process. So I can say we're in the verge of engaging the health sector, getting the KEBS brand and getting verified so that we may be able to release these stocks to the market completely. So we're in the verge of engaging the health sector completely.
Now, Cliff, this product, as we look at it, there will always be people, say, the animal rights groups and whatnot, who would then come to a question, say, you've mentioned on how you prepare them. So there is freezing them, there is suffocating them. So how do you have these conversations such that they understand the, what do you call it, they understand the benefits that come with having crickets on the menu?
For starters, rearing crickets goes a long way. It's so deep. What I mean is that by rearing crickets, we're also mitigating the climate change, the adverse effects of climate change that we are currently facing. As you know, livestock rearing is the number one anthropogenic leading causes of climate change. You know, so by us rearing crickets, we're going to mitigate the amount of GHG gas that is emitted from the livestock. So we're going to cut down on reliance on animal protein. You know, we're trying to cut down on that reliance so that at least we have an impact on the environment. So rearing crickets, as I told you, it is now broader other than healthcare. The benefits of health, it goes into the environmental factors. It uses fewer feed than the other. When you're trying to raise your livestock, it uses less water, it uses less space, it emits fewer GHGs. So with all those advantages that comes with the rearing of crickets, then we are best at a higher place when they're coming to negotiate with the animal rights people, because we tell them, hey, it's not only about health, but also environmentally, we're doing something for the environment. Yeah, and also we are adding on to the biodiversity. You know, people, when people see insects, they tend to, the number one thing they run after is insecticide. and you know, insecticides, I'm not a good advocate. I'm not, because this is my livelihood. So they're killing my livelihood. So if the knowledge gets out there, you know, also insecticides is not good for the environment, the aerosols. So you see, we are killing many stones, many birds actually with one stone.
Very well. Right here we have two individuals who are big on matters to do with cricket rearing and all the benefits that we get from them. Talk about the fortifier, the flour that you talk about. This is the crunch bites. We also have the crickets themselves, which can be eaten as a snack in your house. You can get these from them, have them in a jar, and early in the morning or later in the day, have it cool it down with whichever beverage that you like. And that, if you are also big into pastries, we have mandazis, we have chapatis, you can equally have that on your pancakes. But this is a conversation that is continuing right here on Farm Kenya. And yes, indeed, when we come back, we now talk about cricket rearing as a form of job creation, especially for the youth, because the two individuals right here yet to confirm whether they're Gen Zs or millennials. We'll have that conversation when you come back. Don't go too far.
Kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Sawa, acha hizo zibaki, msimalize.
I can't believe the season's nearly over. It sucks. I mean, I have no idea what I'm going to do with all this time on my hands.
Extraordinary! I swear you'll never see anything like Go bank.
Yes. I come 2 minutes, sir. Some make request telephone already na zima simu.
Can I send you to my mom? Yeah, ako Dubai.
Stacy.
Umesikia niko na haraka? Ndakupatia 1 star.
1 star.
500.
Pesa ni mambo ya dunia. Nimekulipa na baraka.
Ati wewe alipa gani?
I'm not paying you nothing.
Ngoja. Wewe. Ngoja.
Leo nabeba watu wa ida gadi hawa.
We value your feedback and welcome your comments, queries, and complaints regarding our content. You can get in touch with us on SMS 22151, call 0719 012 450 or 0719 012 090 or email feedback@standardmedia.co.ke, or you can send us a letter on Post Office Box 30080-00100, Nairobi, or deliver it to our offices at Standard Group Center, Mombasa Road, Nairobi.
Subscription yako uwe connected. Guswa hisia na drama na telenovela freshi, movie kali, documentaries, mziki na lifestyle channel. Changamka na StarTimes. Let's get ready to download StarTimes on app kwa burudani kemkem wakati wowote popote ulipo. StarTimes, furahia maisha kidijitali.
Unalima ardhi, mlango wa kulima, kuwa mshindi. Kuwa na uhakika sasa, kukulea stakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
And thank you for watching and welcome back to Farm Kenya as we continue with the discussion on matters to do with the alternatives that we have out there as in terms of snacks that you can have in your house. And on set with me is Lawrence Misita, who is from Ekodudu Ranch, equally Cliff Olal from Ekodudu Ranch. Now, Cliff, before we went on the break, we were just having a discussion on matters to do with these being source of employment, yeah? So how is this a solution to unemployment in our country as we speak at the moment?
Well, for starters, I think I should share with you a story. This idea came to me back in 2020. By that time, I was a cloth vendor. I used to sell mitumba. And after graduation, well, you know the situation that we are in here in Kenya. I studied, I graduated, and there was no job.
You studied biology?
I studied biology, yes, from the University of Nairobi, as you had put it there. So, yeah, challenges were here and there. So I opted to, sell clothes. I sold clothes when the Corona period really hit us, and by that time I really found it hard to, sustain my living, feeding myself, paying the rent and whatever, any other challenge a normal youth encounters. So I was on the verge of doing farming. I wanted to rear chicken. So as I was conversing with my sister and doing some research, I got to find out that chicken farmers have one thing in common, and they always complain about feed. So feed is actually the number one problem for chicken farmers. So I tried to find ways to mitigate that problem. With my knowledge of biology, so I sorted to rear cockroaches as feed for the chickens You know, it was an observation that I made. I saw that these kienyeji chickens, they really loved eating, you know, insects. Yeah. So I studied them and I saw, hey, if I have the knowledge of rearing insects in general, I can rear cockroaches, then feed it to my chicken. And that metamorphosized into now rearing of crickets for my own personal use. I started it for my own personal use, and then it grew into a business idea, and here is what we have now. So yes, the issue of employment, yes, it is a challenge, but what I normally try and tell people, if you're impacted with knowledge, then impact also other people with that knowledge and create something for yourself from the knowledge that you had received. It doesn't mean that if you do not take advantage of your knowledge, then that means that you're not doing anything. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and it's more of a calling, you know. And if you actually think out of the box, and it's not for all people, because you must find people to be employed and you must find employers. So for all the graduates and all the knowledgeable people out here, it's not a must you find jobs, you can create jobs. So I was trying actually to help my fellow youths back at home. As you had seen, I have a team of around 5 people. Is one of them that has actually come here. So you see, I've tried to find ways of living, and I have my hands are not grip, so I try to spread the wings.
And Lawrence, as we have the discussion now, here's a question where this is agriculture, and it's agriculture that for a very long time it has been said that the young people don't want to get into agriculture because of pretty much it's a dirty job and whatnot. But here's a question where we have a young person who's using knowledge is acquired from school, a biologist, and here he is doing a different form of agriculture that people are not well conversant with. And through that now we see employment that is coming through, opportunities for other people. So in terms of agriculture being the solution for most of the ills that do exist out there, unemployment, talk about food security, agriculture is out to cure that. So as a young person in this agricultural sector, just how important is it for people to look at agriculture as a business as opposed to I'm just doing agriculture because I want to eat or I want to feed others, but look at it as a business?
Personally, I would say agriculture is a very, very important aspect in anyone's life. And like my colleague said, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Personally, I'm an IT graduate. I deal with computers and softwares, installation and stuff. I major in the computer sector. But part-time, I'm also in the agricultural sector. I rear poultry. I have poultry of my own.
Do you rear cockroaches?
Yes, I rear cockroaches as a way to cope up with the harsh economic times that we're having right now. You will realize that buying these feeds is more expensive than rearing the animals themselves. So this younger generation, based on their own personal incomes, they find it hard to rear or maybe venture into agriculture due to capital. So capital is a major issue to the younger generation in relation to agriculture. Leaving alone the dirty sector, they will realize they normally say that agriculture is dirty. Going to the farm, rearing these animals will make you look dirty. You will always be a dirty person. So capital is the major challenge in relation to finding job opportunities for this younger generation. So personally, I can say agriculture is the solution to unemployment to the younger generation. You can be employed in another sector, but part-time you can also create time to venture into this kind of business as a way of supporting yourself financially and also as a way of coping with your harsh economic times that we're having right now. So as a younger person, I'll recommend any person, whether employed or not, to look into agriculture as a very important way of coping up with the unemployment rate that we are having in this country.
And Cliff, now, as we talk about agriculture being very important in the society that we're in today, and as a way of moving forward now, how do we make sure that the message on agriculture, agribusiness, the message on new technology in agriculture should be hammered hard by the stakeholders in making sure that agriculture continues to be attractive to people who are out there? Because if we do not break barriers of that you can consume cricket, no one will really care about it. But because of the initiatives that do exist here, we see the products that we have eaten, the foods that come from this product. How do we then make sure that agriculture is inviting, that agriculture looks good for people to tap into it?
The only way that we can come out of this, I think, is a statement we normally use in our youth group, and that statement is start them early.
Mm-hmm.
What that entails is we start, injecting, this knowledge and the benefits of agriculture to very young people while they're still young, while they're still in school.
Mm-hmm.
So it will go a long way. And I think this new curriculum, CBC, I think is doing a pretty good job in doing that, because it segregates someone, very early. You get to know your line, your direction of where you want to, take. So the idea of starting them early, I think it can go a long way in impacting the importance and the benefits that will come through if people get into the lane of agriculture, as per se.
Now, Lawrence, with what Cliff has said in terms of impacting them early, introducing them early in matters to do with agriculture, we know CBC is trying to bring these up, but is it about time that, based on the challenges we have in matters to do with food security, climate change and all that, that we finally make agriculture be a compulsory subject in our curriculum moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's a high time we look into agriculture as the main source of income into this country. These are harsh economical times, and sometimes solutions we are the ones to create. We might be complaining of the high stock exchange rates, high economic prices rates, but yet again, we should also be complaining about what are we not doing right, okay? So personally, I'll recommend any person to venture into agriculture as a form of business. But I know the main challenge they will have is capital. How to start? How do they start? How will people see this sort of business? Yeah, so I think it's a high time we venture into agriculture as a way of coping up with this unemployment to this younger generation personally.
And with capital being a very major issue with regard to agriculture and moving forward, especially now that you are rearing, you are processing, you are value adding, in terms of capital, how do you go about it?
Well,
and how cheap or expensive is it for you to be able to do what you do?
Well, nothing is really hard, and everything is hard at the same time. Yeah. When I started this business idea of mine, it was all an idea.
Yeah.
It was just in the mind. It was not physical. So what I got to realize, in Kenya we have entrepreneurship spaces. There are boot camps here in Kenya who actually are trying to impact knowledge to people on how to run enterprises. The knowledge, trying to run an enterprise is not just waking up and putting in money somewhere and running a business. It entails so much. So you must be taught on some level. So in Kenya, we have so many entrepreneurship boot camps. Like for me personally, I am a product of those boot camps. Number one is called Somo Africa. I was a beneficiary. We have the Give Work Challenge, which is funded by the Leila Jena Foundation. I'm also a beneficiary. And currently, I'm also in a boot camp called A Billion Startups. So in Kenya, we have all these spaces, but it depends on if the information is out there, if people know these spaces are out there. These spaces are out there. And so these boot camps, what they actually do, you go for classes for about 3 months, entrepreneurship classes. Afterwards, they give you an opportunity to pitch your idea to a group of investors. Now, mark you, before that, go for training. Yeah. So after pitching your event, if your business is something, you know, it can bring returns, then they give you grants. So I'm a beneficiary of grants system that is currently a new wave in Kenya. Is something that's quite new. So for starters, as I told you, all I had was an idea. I had nothing. So I approached Somo Africa. They were my first investors into my idea. They're the ones who invested around $2,000 for starters. And also having people around you who really care about you is also a good thing, because with this idea, I cannot just go into somebody's land. You know, you need land. Agriculture entails more on land. So if that opportunity of land comes through, then people should grasp it. So I was lucky enough. One of my family members told me, hey, I'm seeing you're doing something. I have this piece of land. I can assist you. So with that is where normally I got my first funding from. Because if it wasn't for that, my idea could have just been an idea, truthfully speaking, because this venture is capital intensive. As I had told you, I'm on the process of redefining my product. I'm not yet KEBS certified, because for me to be KEBS certified, it entails so much. I have to have all the machinery in one place. Currently, what I am doing, I am outsourcing for machinery. What I have in the farm on the ground is just the rearing facility. So if I want to process them, I go and outsource. And when I'm outsourcing, KEBS guys cannot come and really authentify that all these processes are in adherence to their regulations. Yes.
Now, Lawrence, there is the aspect of capital intensity that is out there, which therefore then comes forward to in terms of access to funding, access to the capital that we talk about. And here is a question where we have now the cooperatives that do exist in the agricultural sector. We have the banks. We also have the government that is giving out funding out there. But the question now is, how easy is it to get these funds? How accessible are they? And also in terms of, do we have incentives because you are a youth? So in terms of just having all these discussions in enabling the young people be able to tap into the agricultural sector, value add and move forward, what should be the conversation like from all these stakeholders in making sure that it is affordable, it is accessible for the young people?
Personally, I believe that these sectors should be having, I think they have programs that they have in place. The banks do have programs in place whereby they support youths in one way or another, like the SHOFCO programs. They do come along and support the youths financially or maybe a little. But in order for them to finance you, they must see the effort that you're putting to something. So when we were talking earlier, I tried to tell you that capital is the hardest thing to get in the process. And finding someone who can uplift you is even much harder, you see. Sure. So personally, as a youth, as an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, I believe that it is possible to do other business as you raise that small capital to begin with. With as little as $3,000, you can start rearing poultry. With as little as $16, you can start rearing this. But before you get these funds from these recognized organizations, you must first of all show that effort that you're putting into something, so that before they support you, they might see that they're investing in something that is going to bring profits on it. Yeah, so I'll finalize by just saying, true support comes at a greater cost, and that greater cost is you best. You are the person to begin, and the rest will support you. Yeah.
That is Lawrence Misita from Ekodudu Ranch and Cliff Olal from Ekodudu Ranch, as well as they talk about the business of rearing and processing crickets in this country. we have had an opportunity to have the roasted cricket, which tastes really good actually, and also the chapatis, the mandazis here, including their product, which is the crunch bites, which is a product they're working on, still going through the development stage, but it is good for you to go if you are in the gym, you have a baby, or you just want to enjoy your meal, have it fortified. This is the product to go for. And they are young people who are making sure that they are leaving their mark in the agricultural sector, adding value in all these products. The only challenge would be access to funds, and it is a conversation, as Lawrence has said, it all begins from within. For you to get funding, you must show that you're equally putting in the work, but that does not end there. The government and all the stakeholders out there need to tap into the great minds that we have in this country, especially the agricultural sector, so that we are able to move forward and address matters to do with food security in this country. My name is Dennis Aseto. This is Farm Kenya, and we continue to bring you such amazing content. But from us, we say asante sana for making time, and you at home, asante sana for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good afternoon.
Unalima ardhi, lengo la mkulima kuwa mshindi.